I would now like to invite Mr. Eknath Dawale. Mr. Eknath Dawale is Principal Secretary for Agriculture and Soil and Water Conservation, and he faces a very big challenge of seeing how farmers in our dryland regions of Maharashtra can access water and become secure. Thank you so much, Mr. Dawale, for participating and for coming over here, for giving us your time in spite of your very busy schedule. But you know, we cannot go forward without having you and your blessings in this whole effort. It is not just only for Maharashtra, but this particular event is also for the rest of the country. So thank you, Mr. Dawale. I would now invite you to give us your keynote speech to tell us how we can go forward. Thank you.
Yeah, now good afternoon to all of the participants. Thank you, Dr. Lobo and the team who invited us to participate into this conversation. This workshop has focused on a very burning topic. When just the two speakers earlier mentioned that there are pros and cons of the structures, which basically, I mean, there are two sides, and always if you say any technology, there are always two sides. So not a single technology is without benefits and its limitations. Because this structure is a new structure in a tradition. It's not a traditional water conservation structure. It is a new intervention innovated by the farmers by taking a clue from a non-agriculture, because this was used for as a for the purpose of a non-agriculture industrial purpose ponds and the refill tanks. Then it was basically used as the Western countries, this lining is used for the landfill side. So obviously taking from the clues, particularly some farmers in Western Maharashtra, they understood that this can be used as a good storage tank capacity, and this can be. But what I will do, I will go on two aspects on this one. So first, I will go into the traditional farm ponds which you're using to this one. It's a normal farm pond without lining, and second is the farm pond with lining. So and then we will have some basically discussion point on that how it could be taken forward. We had, I mean, this since last, I'm working in the field as from CEO, collectors, and so since last 25 years, I'm working in the same field. I mean, either in the agriculture and as a district collector, CEO, and mostly the rural and the watershed works. So, as a part of this one, if you see the traditional farm ponds, this concept was introduced in 1994-96 when the Manoli Watershed Development Program was envisaged with the help of the Dr. Punjab Rao Deshmukh Krishi Vidyapit, Apola, and the World Bank. So that has been devised, and in Manoli Watershed, they come to the conclusion that 10-hectare area will, I mean, gives the 10-hectare area, then take a farm pond at the low rain site, then collect rainwater, and then have the 100-feet borewell below that one, and then the small dug well, and you can have some water security on that one. But having said this thing, in the same districts around this, there was a saline tract, Purna Basin one. So in that area, which and even the farmers in otherwise also when there is a black bottom soil, and traditionally the farmer used to have, because the land soil parcel size in Vidarbha Marathwada area was the larger one, and for the purpose of at the time of the sowing, so there was no dug well around here and there. So the water requirement for the purpose of, I mean, for the drinking water for the animals, and even some for some agriculture purpose, there was no source of the agriculture, and farmer used to again have some sort of pond. Not technically this was type of a pond, but it was a very small pond, maybe around 1 lakh, 2 lakh liter capacity, maximum 5 lakh capacity, depending on the farm size. And that because of the impermeability of the black soil, cotton soil, that used to be having around the year, there was only the depletion because of the transpiration was there, and that's what the losses. Otherwise, it was as good as impermeable tank storage. Even in the saline track in Akola and around area, and even in the most of this area, we have seen such type of farmers using this. So farm pond per se is not a new concept as such. I mean, this traditional, because farmers were using it. When we compare it with the dug well, I mean, see, when we talk about the water structure, then immediately the next competitive structure to the farm pond is the dug well. Again, if you see this dug well, the government has taken an initiative on the promoting the farm ponds and the dug wells, and so that at least some water security, at least one or two protective irrigation during the dry spell will ensure the water security to the crops, and that there should not be the loss on the part of the yield. So with this vision, government of Maharashtra, I mean, since last 25 years, are promoting this farm pond activity, and at the same time of the dug wells also. But when we talk about the dug well, no one talks about its excavation, because it's exploring water excavation sector. No, see, we talk about this thing, but for the dug well, it is a shallow aquifer structure, and that's why it is appreciated. But at the same time, if you look from that point of view, this farm pond, this is a farm pond is again a very shallow structure. So dug well, farmers prefer dug well because at least it has some water available during the dry spell, and that's it. So over the period of time, the popularity of a farm pond has been taken by the dug well. And when we see the eastern Maharashtra, particularly the Malguzari Talav area, where the traditional water bodies where there is a body structure, body was supposed to take at the higher elevation, farm pond was supposed to take at the lower elevation, because farm pond was supposed to take all the water at the lower end, but the body was supposed to take water at the higher end, and when there is a shortage, so because of the gravity, there has to be the some water should go to the paddy farm. So that was the structure. So though traditionally having the same meaning, but one was used to use for the both are was used to for the dry spell, but the location wise it was different, because in assured rainfall area there was no issue of getting filtered farm pond. So in eastern Vidarbha, that was there because of that assured rainfall. The farm pond, that body was filled with assured rainfall. But over the period of time, since I am seeing this four phenomena since last 25 years, so changes had been in the Western Maharashtra, particularly the value-added agriculture and the horticulture farmers. They found it very difficult to depend on the groundwater source, because there was not certainty of the groundwater source, that where at what time water will be available, what time water will be available. So some farmer innovatively, particularly Nashik and Solapur area, particularly I have seen the Nashik area in 1994, the grape farmers first time they have used this farm pond with lining structure for giving us some protective irrigation, for protective water to the grape orchards. And over the period, it has become a popular in some part of the area. But again, it remained confined to some area because of the cost, the capital cost involved into digging the farm pond, constructing the farm pond with lining was a bit out of the scope of the normal farmers. But when the MID, Mission on Integrated Development Horticulture, the scheme was basically introduced, and there was a concept of the community farm pond. This one, I think, 2007 onward. So this farm ponds has taken because it was for the horticulture purpose, this farm pond has taken basically the lead. And I think, sir, after 2007 onward, then it has reached to the other than the Nashik Solapur region, it has reached to the other parts of the Maharashtra. And nowadays, if you see that Aurangabad, Jalna, and say every district, so there is a demand on the farm ponds. So earlier government in 2016-17 has launched the scheme farm pond on मागेल त्याला शेततळे जो भी ये इसको फार्म पॉन्ड मांगेगा उसको फार्म पॉन्ड मिलेगा. That was the slogan of the government, and we fulfilled it. Around 3 lakh farm pond has been dig over that period, and around 2.5 lakh dug wells has been constructed during that period. So it was very popular. And then there was the demand from the farmer that we requires the lining to the plastics. It was very small, 30 meter by 30 meter, or somewhere it's a 20 by 20 meter by 3 meter depth. So very, very small structure was there. And then we again introduced the scheme of the providing the plastic lining to the streets. Around 75,000 rupees subsidy was given to this farm. And I mean, we need to believe on the technology, because sometimes what it's a evolution over the process. We have to understood this, because it takes 25 years to reach farmers to this conclusion. When we talk about the technology, when the green revolution come in the agriculture sector, so there was a resistance on that part. Similarly, this again was that green revolution is only for the high-end farmers, not the low-end farmers. Second generation reform, the second generation technological revolution come when the BT was introduced into the cotton. So no one, I mean, including all intellectuals and all this, all, I mean, denied this thing. Yes, it is not. No one recommended that the BT should. But as on today, 99% cotton is under BT. See, people are there for their own. People will take their decision on the basis of the rationale, whether it is pros and cons. I mean, it's right to say, yes, there are this thing, yes, this should not be done, this should be done. Having said this thing, so at the opening, I said for any technology, there are plus, there are positive points as well as there are limitations. You take any technology. I mean, the technology which we are using as the virtual technology, it has its limitation, it has its positive point. So no technology is without the limitation. The point earlier speaker mentioned that I appreciate, and that is the dug well should not, this farm pond shall not, I again repeat, shall not be filled with the bore wells. Because this is again you are exploring the basically the more deep aquifer for this purpose. So this is a completely no one, I mean, including the government, and no one is into. But there is a subsurface flow. When there is a rainfall, there is sufficient rainfall, there's drains out, there is 100%. I mean, when we talk about this area, we have to see the topography of the Maharashtra. It's a 97% area. If you see this one, it's only 3 to 4% area. If you see the basalt topography of 80% comes under this one, but the water holding capacity of the basalt rock is not more than 3-4%. So when we see the watershed, our all technologies in the Vidarbha Marathwada region, because what happens is the all DPAP area where the rainfall is around 400, 500. Even today, if you see the Ahmednagar, you see the all the small streams drains out. So when there is a saturation of the aquifer, then where this water should be used? So this water has to be used for this purpose, to fill such type of the farm ponds, and that should be used for the purpose of the rest period of this time. So we as a government never said that it should be taken at the cost of some farmers. But if there is a subsurface flow, it's always going to some drains, and that drains going to some dam, and it ultimately is going to some wells. And this farm ponds, how much it is there? So 30 by 30 by 3, it's not more than the 27 lakh, 30 lakh liter water is there. So there are some farmers who had this 40 meters on this one. I mean, obviously there are some, but are the exception. If you see the Ahmed, Jalna and Aurangabad, it is one of the best success story of using the farm pond for the purpose of the sweet oranges, seed production, all vegetables type of this thing. I mean, I will request some of the opinion maker who basically speak about this type of performance, and see the Kadvanchi itself. Vijayanna Borade, one of the leading the watershed, the pioneer into Maharashtra. The Kadvanchi village, which has been developed, you find around 250 farm ponds are there lining. I mean, so number may be around, but it's more than 200. So, but wait, then there is some surface flow available, abundance water is available. Then why should not be it filled with this water? So if you are seeing this one, then is it the way that the upper topography people get defrauded at the cost of the lower topography, which has the due advantage in any case otherwise? Means if you take the watershed itself, the farmers along the stream side has always a better endowment compared to the top farmers. If the top farmers had used his due share of water, then we should not say that the lower farmers who had the drain side or the nala side is being deprived. So we should, I think, that should not be our approach when we make our decisions and when we. So this is the one point I just want to make on that part. There was one committee, high power committee appointed by the government, Honorable High Court, when the Jalit Chwar Abhiyan was there, and there was issues regarding some technical aspect. So that type, the one point was that how much should be the farm ponds? I mean, what should be the number of appropriate farm ponds? I mean, in one watershed, or depending on the rainfall. So that point is one decision we need to. I mean, really, we require some expertise on that. What shall be the optimum water? What should be the optimum number of the farm ponds per hectare or per size, depending on, because the rainfall is less, then per hectare area will be more. If the rainfall is more, per hectare area will be less. So depend on, I mean, this, but there has to be some rationale that how what should be the farm ponds number on that. But having said all this, both the point I was just saying, so we are very cautious about this thing. We are promoting, as a government, we are promoting farm ponds with a lining. I don't have any hesitations to say this one, subject to the rider that it has been not at the cost of the groundwater. That is the only underlying. That is the say from my side. Thank you.